Welcome to Clearing the Dating Demons. So glad you're here. So glad you're here. If you're watching this in the future, yay! I'm really grateful that you are part of this because I know that in this class, there's a lot of amazing, explosive, um, dynamically changing things that are available in the near future. So if you are watching this, just know that this would be the time to get out a journal and hunker down because we're going to go through a lot of things that will support you in clearing out the things that are keeping you from having fun dating. And frankly, if you're not having fun dating, then you can't create a happy, healthy relationship. You're only going to create the funkiness that is. So, welcome. This is day 3, and we're calling this Getting Smart. So we've already gone through a couple days. If you're joining live, say hello in the comments. We started with day 1, which was about getting clear. So I know that if you're here, there is a sense, an awareness of a relationship you would like to create. Am I right? So post in the comments if you know that, yes, having a person in your life, sharing your life with someone feels really light and fun to you. Yay, Karen, glad you're here. So if that is the case, then acknowledge that today, and as we have been all week. And then moving to day 2 is about getting powerful. And we talked about getting out of the sense of just kind of wishing and hoping and actually making a choice for something different. So as people are arriving, I invite you to start using the mantra that we introduced the last couple days. And I'll share it again because this is really allowing your body to program and move from one way of being to another way of being. And that is, the me within me is infinity. The me within me is the reality. The me within me is the grace. I am the master of my space. So let's start with a little bit of this while people are joining. And if you're starting on this class, or if you're watching this as a single class, just begin to use this mantra. The me within me is infinity, acknowledging that you are part of the creative consciousness. So your desire for having this love relationship is not made up or an accident or something that only everyone else gets, but you're thinking, well, maybe I could, but maybe I probably can't, like all of that kind of stuff. You are getting this desire through your heart because it is part of your destiny. So acknowledging the me within me is infinity. So being in the space of being able to change your life is right there. So the me within me is infinity. The me within me is my reality. So when you're embodying that and you're being the infinite you, then your life will show that. So if right now you're seeing in your life, okay, I would like to have some different things, like I'm aware that some things aren't working. I'm aware that being single is not working for me. And maybe it is, but you have a desire for something else, then the me within me is a reality is about changing that inner world changing your points of view, which is what we're doing with clearing the dating demons, so that you can have a different reality. And then the me within me is the grace. What would be possible if you can have this shift, this change, this clearing the dating demons with total ease? The grace is the invitation to relax, to create from relaxation, create from playing into love. My motto in Super Loved is playing into love, playing into love. So the me within me is the grace. And then the final statement, I am the master of my space, is remembering that you are the most powerful being, that any of these demons that we're talking about today, which we're going to get into some more specifics about what you can do with them today, that you are not at the effect of all that unless you let yourself, unless you buy into that as a reality for you. So the me within me is the infinity. The me within me is the reality. The me within me is the grace. I am the master of my space. Yay! So we are going to talk about what it means to get smart with all this. So the getting smart is a little more, in some ways, pragmatic. It's how you take some steps to really bring you closer to what it is that you desire. And I want to make an important statement here about all this, because how many of you have kind of been functioning in your relationship space as if, oh my God, I must be doing something wrong, or I live in the wrong place, or the men I attract are wrong. Like, all of the things around relationship and dating have this sense of it's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong. If you are noticing that, I want to remind you that this is about learning. To have a conscious, healthy, happy relationship does require that you learn some things. And no one is teaching us this. We're growing up, we're living 30, 40, 50, 60 years of our life from this default definition or belief or idea about what it takes to have a relationship. So I want you to know that this is something that does involve learning. And how does it get any better than that? I mean, I'm going to teach you some things that you can start practicing. And will you please give yourself the kindness and the presence to practice this, and not just beat yourself up because why isn't this happening? It should just happen, because that's not actually true. So my goal with this is to give you teaching so that, one, you get that you're not taught to be aware. Instead, you're taught that, this is, you're supposed to just like look a certain way, like relationship is like this. We're modeling it after media and magazines and TV shows and, the 50s. And so I want you to know that going from that space of this is how it is to, wow, I'm moving into what I'm aware of and what I know is true for me and what I'm asking for, and being in that empowered space which is the awareness that we talked about on day one, but also the choice that we talked about on day two. So instead of thinking that things are like this, you get to make new choices that create a different result. And then that leads me to what is possible here in this super loved community is that I'm not here to make you feel better. Like I'm not interested in me being a cheerleader for you to go from, oh, this has been hard to, okay, I feel better now. I'm interested in you actually experiencing more of you and the difference that is. Because if we're just hi Francine, she's snoring now. The difference between just being like, yay, rah, 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 and wow, here are some tools that will create something different in your world, and you get to play with them, and you get to experience them, and you get to see what that's like for you. Because the real win here in clearing these dating demons is you being that advocate for you and making choices that create something different. And so I know from the work that I do one-on-one, the beauty of that is with consciousness tools and with using regenerating images and memory, which is a process that I use to get to the source of where people have created beliefs. It may even be from childhood or even other lifetimes, these core beliefs about who we are and what we can have that are that real powerful programming at the deeper levels that do drive our life. That this is not years of therapy to do that. This is about actually having an experience with yourself that is not just making you feel better, but actually creating something different. Most of the time when people have sessions like this, and this is one-on-one stuff I'm talking about, but I want you to know this because this is not just like, yay, I feel better now, and then I just go back to my old ways of being. This is, okay, like what can we do at the deepest levels to actually create something different in your life? And that's the opportunity we have here today. And so today I'm going to go through all of the different dating demons, and we're going to talk about what you can actually do that is different with this. And so that you're not getting continuously kind of tricked by it and thinking. So once again, thinking, which learning is not thinking either. Learning doesn't have to require thinking, because remember when we talked about stopping the thinking on day one and going into awareness, the thinking is all about the past. So we're stepping into being an empowered being for ourselves. So let's talk about what it takes, okay? So as we have discussed the different dating demons, we're going to dive in again. Hello, Joanne and Karen and Deborah. Whoever else is here, say hello. So the first one is, we've talked about these trolls and goblins, the inner trolls that are the ones that are beating us up, judging ourselves, saying, you're not good enough, this isn't going to work for you. So in the awareness of, wow, the inner critics are coming out. Wow, I'm dipping into the self-judgment. I am, buying into things, feeling, and I know this is a very powerful space. So sometimes it's just a habit of these inner trolls. So the tool for this in, really getting smart with this is to absolutely say no to that. And you're going to want to really declare, stop, no, I'm not going there again. So I'm wondering if you've even noticed this the last couple of days. Notice times that your kind of inner trolls have come up and started telling you stories about why you can't date, or why online dating's not going to work, or why any of the modern dating's going to work, why where you live, like all of the stories around that are part of the strategy of the inner trolls. So right now, if you notice that that is a tendency for you, like write it down in your journal, and the strategy is going to be to say no. And I know that sounds really simple and probably almost too simple, making it kind of hard, but this is actually making a choice for you. This is actually making a decision to empower you. The next one is, we talked about the ogre, which is those things that feel more powerful, like bigger than you. So it's, anything that you've kind of felt helpless around, where you've gone into this helpless, hopeless space. So today in the Getting Smart, I want to remind you that you are the most powerful being, and that there is nothing bigger than you, and you are way more powerful than you think. You are way stronger than you think. You're way more beautiful than you think. You're way more capable than you think when it comes to all of this. So let yourself be willing to acknowledge you. So all of these things are incrementally acknowledging and strengthening the power of you. So let's move to some of the ones we haven't really talked about. The actual demons. So there's actually one point that I call demons. And I know this whole class is called demons, but I'm including all of these in the demons, but there are ones that are demons. So today I want to really introduce this one in more depth. This is the one where it's about where you are actually not being you. So how many times have you noticed yourself, and post in the comments if you've ever noticed this. Have you ever noticed where you've kind of mimicked your mom doing something, or you've mimicked a friend doing something, or you've just noticed that you've kind of taken on a habit or a behavior? So this one can be kind of subtle, because sometimes we don't really recognize that we have moved into being someone else, or being a different version of us. How many times have you felt like, sort of feeling like a younger version of you, or gone to a time when you've frozen or stopped because of something that occurred in your world, and it kind of triggered this younger you? So be aware of this. So post in the comments if you've ever sort of felt like, wow, I'm not even being me in this situation. And when we know, hey, you guys, when we know this, then we can ask the question, wait a second, who am I being? If you've ever gone into I've noticed this with myself, where I've gone into kind of a pathetic state before. It's like, I don't even know who I'm being necessarily, but it's like I'm going into this emotional, I'm doing this drama or I'm doing this trauma thing where it's like somewhere within me, I must believe, and sometimes you can see it somewhere within me. I'm thinking, oh, if I do this thing, I'm going to get a result from that. And this is a huge one for this category of getting smart, because you want to be able to acknowledge your power, you as an infinite being, you as a being creating your reality, which is the me within me is infinity, me within me is reality, and me within me is the grace. I'm the master of my space. You also want to acknowledge where you may have some of these habits. So the inner trolls can represent some of the thought habits and mind habits that you've just been doing for a really long time, where, oh, I can't do that, I'm not good enough, or I'm not pretty, that you've just been carrying along for so long that you actually just think that you are that. So this is confronting those things that aren't feeling that fun. I mean, if it feels kind of crappy and shitty and low vibe, then likely we know that what's heavy is not true for us. So, being willing to start being aware of what you're doing. So there's that. And then, noticing, okay, well, if I'm doing this thing, what is it that's kind of right about this for me? So if you're going into that, like I just said, like the hopelessness thing, where have you decided that that's going to create something for you? I mean, you don't have to think your way through it, but start being aware, because the demon part, when you're kind of being something that's not actually you, it's like you're sort of possessed. You're possessed by the hopeless one, or you're possessed by, oh, this is how my mom does relationships, or you're possessed by, oh, if I'm pathetic enough, then maybe someone will save me. Any of those kinds of things. That's not your best choice. So be aware of the demons that are those, who am I being moments that will hijack you from actually being a conscious creator and honoring you, listening to you, and showing up for you. So, okay. So then, yes. So this is, everything we're talking about is inviting a commitment to being you. So are you willing to commit to making some new choices, getting out of the self-judgment, and actually being willing to have your own back in this so that you can be different with dating? Moving from what has been, so the up until now stuff that isn't creating what it is you've been asking for necessarily, or you're noticing pain and frustration, and making a choice for something different. So I want to talk about another interesting dating demon, which is one that I call the vampire. And this is where we're actually buying into or letting our life like jerk us around. And it may even be something as simple as your job. Like, are you letting your job be a vampire of your life? Or Are you letting other people be a vampire of your life, which means that these things are sucking out all your energy? And when you're aware of these things that are sucking out your energy, that's up to you to stop. So, and it may be even how you are being with it. So this may be a combination of the sort of who am I being and, what choices am I not making that if I were to actually make them would create a different experience for myself. So I know for me, I used to be in my, corporate world in oftentimes with a lot of frantic energy, like pressuring myself, pushing and overly committing and being busy and really burning myself out. Did I have to be in a frantic energy? Did I have to push myself in those ways? No, I didn't. And there's always choices we can make. We have choices in the way our attitude is towards something. We have choices in the way we use our energy with stuff. And I see this with dating a lot, where people will put themselves out online and then they'll let the whole thing be an energy drain, which ultimately gets them to what they want, which is, okay, this didn't work. See, I told you so. So if you are actually interested in playing in the dating space in a way that can work for you, it's going to be up to you to manage your attitude and your point of view with it and your energy with it. So if you are meeting people and you're seeing a lot of people who aren't a good match for you, one way you can let this become like the vampire of your life is you can start complaining about it a lot and ranting about it and clinging on to everything that's not working, and let that become this drama and just drain your space, and really committing to the this is not working part. If you do that, you absolutely will burn out and not have energy for any relationship. And I don't know of many other areas, unless you're just doing recreational ranting and complaining, which a lot of people do, that would happen. It's like, if you went to a restaurant and you saw a menu and most of the things on the menu you weren't interested in or didn't like or didn't even eat, like they weren't part of your diet, would you spend the next, week going on a rant about, oh my God, I can't believe there's all these things that are not there. I didn't like them. And I don't eat that. That's not what I wanted. And like, okay, it's probably a crappy example, but you get the point where it's like, you get to set the tone. And if you've decided, so this is where it can get into a mix of a lot of different demons. If you're deciding that your experience, like putting yourself out there, is, a reference point for how worthy you are, then yeah, that's going to be really painful. And you may not even be aware that you're doing that. And so I would just, check in with yourself. Like if you put yourself out there and you see most people that you don't like, which by the way, most people are not going to be your person. Like most people are not your person. You go around and most people are not even someone who would probably be a girlfriend for you or, workout buddy. Like most people are not that. Like this is about connecting with people and just seeing, okay, who might be close to like matching my values, who is someone I'm curious about. And that's going to be a very small percentage of people. So it's up to you to not make the rest of that a sad story. This is huge. This is a big vampire, actually. When you are approaching dating, just waiting to create the sad story, then you will create a sad story. So this is about being open, enjoying your life. And I'm going to give you 5 commitments in a minute that will help kind of ground all of this. But be aware of this, because this is where this is the smart part. Like, honestly, it's really dumb to think that if you go online, that if you don't see a bazillion people that you think are great, that that's a problem. Like, no, that is dumb. Stop it. Don't do that. Your person is special, especially if you're in this group. You're asking for someone really high caliber. You're asking for someone who is smart, who is conscious, who is kind, who is successful, who is open to a relationship, who really is available. And that is a beautiful thing. And not most people aren't that, and that's okay. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen. So let go of, let's do a clearing, let go of anywhere where you are hyper looking for all of the reasons that this is not going to work. So bringing up all that energy and releasing it. Yes, okay. Deborah says the restaurant analogy was great. Okay, good. I tend to do analogies that are food-based. I guess it's because I'm Italian. Anyway, so please notice this, because one of the biggest dating demon vampires, whatever we want to call this one, because it's sort of a combination of everything, is immediately looking for something wrong. And I think that this is kind of sourced in the fact that we don't learn this stuff. We don't learn relationship. We don't learn intimate relationship. We don't learn about awareness. We don't learn that we have choice. We don't really learn we're an infinite being. And then we live our whole life thinking, okay, well, this relationship thing isn't working, so there must be something seriously wrong with me. And that was a very compelling story in my world until I started doing this kind of clearing work and doing the deeper work that allowed me to open up to receive something totally different. So the key here is, just because you haven't learned something, so anywhere where your body has taken, oh, wow, I haven't learned this, therefore I must be like wrong or broken. And this would be like an unconscious thing, but anywhere where your body or your being has misidentified, oh, I haven't learned this, I don't know this, and therefore I'm wrong, will you destroy and uncreate that? So let's also note there that what we have learned, so this is a biggie, what we have learned growing up, and I know that it's even more alive for you all as high achieving, smart, conscious women, what we have learned is, I have to get it right. I want to get it right. I want to do this right. I want to get this next relationship right. I don't want to get it wrong. I want to get it right. So that's actually a demon. That's actually a demon. So anywhere where you are, gosh, white knuckle gripping, I have to get this right, will you destroy and uncreate that, letting all that energy come up? Post in the comments if you can relate to that. Like, oh yeah, I am doing the Clearing the Dating Demons class because I'm going to get relationship right this time. So what is available if you didn't have to get it right? What is available is you have your awareness, which doesn't have a right or wrong or good or bad. Your awareness is awareness and knowing and tuning in, being aware. There's a lightness to it. There's no polarities, right, wrong, good, bad, right, wrong, good, bad, right, wrong, good, bad. There's none of that. And you have choice. So choice was the power. Somebody needs another flush. I love that. There we go. You're welcome. Yeah. Anywhere where you're needing to get it right. Let's get all of this out. Anywhere where you have decided that you have to get relationship right. And guess what? And it's making you not even choose to date because I have to figure it all out to get it right. So then you're going into thinking. How much of this thinking is then not keeping you from even meeting people? So whatever that is. So all of you out there, please know that I feel the space right now. So being aware that you can't do you wrong. And when you are meeting people, this is also a space of learning. So this is the next level of getting smart that nobody is going to tell you, because people go to dating and think about, okay, if I go on a date, like now what do I do? How do I get that right? So we've got to get past all of this. Anytime we're trying to get it right, we're in like this inner troll demon thing. And it's a combination of a lot of them. It's a combination of the inner troll and the judgment. So you better get it right. It's a combination of like, who am I being? Like trying to like be this perfectionist or my mom or whatever, or not disappoint so-and-so or whatever. Oh, there's a lot of things there. And then the vampire of the looping of it, the looping of all of that, like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do the thing I did before. And then is the, I don't want to do the thing that I did before is like, okay, I have no power. Like I have no smarts or something. Like you are safe making a choice to date. You're safe meeting people. I know a lot of you don't believe that, but you forget that you are the most powerful you. And no matter what happens, and I make a joke about this and sometimes in my class, but it is kind of true. Like, even if you went on a date with someone like who chopped you up in a million pieces and put you in the refrigerator, your infinite being will move on. You will be okay. You will be okay. So whatever that brought up, yes, let's just bring all this energy, all of the funk that's coming up, let's release it. I know this class is kind of packed with a lot of information right now, but I'm hoping that this is kind of moving some things around in your world. And it's you know, in some ways we're talking about getting smart. You might after this feel kind of dumb because it's like, okay, well, everything that constructed my idea about dating and what I need to worry about and what I need to do or figure out, like all of that stuff is gone. And then it's like you're sort of in an empty space and it can feel really weird. So I want you to know that no matter what is coming up for you, that you are safe being you, you are going to be okay. So know that. And okay, so let's talk about this part. So we just talked about like being aware that if you're focused on, I have to get this right, then likely then guess what? You're going into your head and then you're starting to loop, and now you're back in your past again. You're going, I have to get this right. I have to figure this out. You're in your head and now you're in your past. So what I'm inviting you to be able to do with this is to show up for yourself, use your awareness, tap into your amazing love story and the experience of that, and start places in your life that match that. So that's what I would call being love, being in love now, being in love now. So this fluffy jacket that I'm wearing, it makes me feel like a love story. It makes me happy. It lightens me up. So what are those things that you can, as simple as just putting on a jacket, that you can start choosing that is being loved now? So I'm going to invite you to write down these 5 commitments. So get out your journal, and this is a great place to start. And how's this landing? Post in the comments how you're doing. Is this rearranging some things for you right now? So this is what I'm talking about, going from not just like, oh, I feel better, yay, rah, 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 to different. Okay, different. So different starts with 1, making the decision, making the choice for love. Like actually saying yes to your beloved. Yes to, I am making a choice for this. And you may think that you've been doing that all along. I thought I was doing that for years and years and years. But what I realized was it was more of this like back burner awareness thing that I was afraid to choose. That I was afraid to choose because I didn't want to get my hopes up. Like by saying yes to it, it was like, okay, well, I said yes to it. Am I going to be a total failure because it's not going to happen? And then I'm going to like feel completely powerless or whatever. I promise when you're saying yes to it, you will create it through all of these like practices that I'm sharing with you. And the other piece to this is you get to create it all the time. So let's okay, saying yes to it. Are you saying yes to your super loved relationship? Post in the comments. Engage, 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 engage. I love having engagement. So post in the comments if you're saying yes to, I am making, yes. Okay, awesome. I am making a choice for my super loved love story, which, you know what I love about this is that the thing that we can sometimes forget about with this, because it's that desire within you that's like, oh, wow, yeah, I just sense that. I totally sensed the experience of being with Larry before I created it. But it's only when I got past all the things that I thought relationship needed to look like. Like I spent a lot of years thinking, okay, this is how it has to happen. This is, what my person needs to look like. This is, I had all this like structure around it and limitations that weren't even mine. So there's the demon right there. Like I was basing my relationship on everybody else's relationship. It was even basing it on some of my good friends' relationships. And So there was always something off with that for me. So I wasn't even, there's like this weird misalignment. So anyway, how many of you weren't willing to say yes to it because you didn't want to get your hopes up and be disappointed, or you didn't want to jinx it. So all of that, strain on create anywhere where we're denying ourselves happiness and joy and the lightness and the brilliance that you be in knowing about this, wherever you're denying, diminishing, pooping on the most amazing things that are coming through your awareness, will you release all of that and making the choice for ease and joy and love and happiness here? Awesome. So number two is, being in that experience, in the super loved vision, let's say. And I know some of you, vision may not be the word, but if the super loved perceiving the super loved experience for you, being willing to really give yourself to that. And when I say that, I'm saying that the part that's not a very smart choice is when we sort of create this wide net vision of, I just want someone nice. I just want someone who, is nice. No, you don't. You have way more awareness of what it is that for you. There's the kindness, there's the shared values, there's the experiences that are fun for you. I wouldn't survive without someone who was equally created, because that is just enmeshed in what's super fun for me. There's the consciousness, there's maybe the spirituality, there may be the adventure and the travel. There are things that so don't pretend you don't know these things, because the other thing that turns into a vampire is if you put yourself out in the dating world and you're giving everyone a chance, you're like, oh, well, I better give everyone a chance. And then it's just putting on blinders. You know what would be fun for you. You are the chooser. You get to be out there and pick people who actually inspire you or pique your curiosity. I mean, it does take a minute to learn about someone. So I think I was actually about to talk about that earlier and I got sidetracked. Go figure. But, each date is a learning. Each time you're connecting with someone, this is kind of practice. It's going to be awkward. You've never met this person before. It might not be awkward, and that's great too. But being able to go, oh, wow, I am learning about someone, rather than going, okay, I got to get this right. And is this my husband? Are you my husband? Is this my husband? I better think about this and I better figure it out. Oh my God, I better look for red flags. Really hardcore look for red flags. How much of that vampire energy drain of that, overthinking, overanalyzing, pressuring yourself to not get it wrong. So, and all that just takes all the fun out of it. It's trying to go into, it's like having sex and expecting to have an orgasm in the first 5 minutes, within someone you've, are just getting to know. Okay, that's ridiculous. You learn about each other, you get to know each other, you have openings for connection. And so you've got to, know what's actually the creation is something that unfolds. You get to know someone. Someone can be phenomenal on a first date, and then you do find out something that isn't great about them. And then you discover, okay, well, this person isn't for me. That's okay. That's not a problem with anyone. You may go out with someone a couple times and then the person disappears. Also, not a problem. It's not about you. It doesn't have to become a sad story. Next. So that was a whole teaching within this one, this commitment to really committing to creating the ultimate vision without trying to cut it down or dumb it down ahead of time. Be true to your vision. Be true to your love story. You don't have to, make it a wide net to make sure it works, or, take out things because you're like, well, I probably can't have that. There's no way that I can have this and this. Will you stop trying to think your way through it? Let the universe deliver. I can't tell you how many clients I have that when they meet their person, they're like, wow, this is way more than I ever thought it could be. So say yes to your vision of love is the second one. The third one is being in love now. So whatever that energy is of your super loved relationship, be that. Once you become the love story, then you're not wanting it or needing it, because the want and need is always outside of you. So be love. And one of the ways I like doing this, which you can do it with the mantra, actually, you can do the me within me is infinity, the me within me is a reality, the me within me is a grace, I'm the master of my space. That could actually land you right into the space of the presence of the love story. Or you can imagine just being present with your beloved. You can imagine the most beautiful nature scene. You can imagine, whatever it is that brings that. My tool for that is to imagine holding hands with your beloved. So holding hands with your beloved and just experiencing the energy of that. You don't need to know what they look like, where they live, what their job is. Just hold hands with your beloved on a regular basis to let your body have the relationship, because your body's the one who wants the relationship anyway. You as an infinite being, yeah, you're traveling through lifetimes. Your body is the one that likes that connection and is calling it in. So give your body that sense of being present with your beloved. That's number 3. Are you committing to that? Connect. Okay. Say yes to that. Have you said yes to number 2 yet? I don't know. So number 4. Okay, this is choosing. Thoughts. If you notice something feels bad, like if you notice that you're aware of the sadness or funkiness or depression or not feeling like things are working, be aware. That's when you want to go, okay, wait a second. Like I am sensing this. You don't have to become it. So make a choice there. Make a choice. Most people have feelings, have emotions, and just buy into everything they're sensing as who they are, rather than going, wow, I'm aware of sadness. I am aware of a funkiness. I'm aware of frustration, and going, okay, well, what else is possible here? So if you notice something that's funky, be aware, and you don't have to become it. You don't have to buy into that as your reality. I know a lot of people have a hard time with this one because we want to make feelings and emotions so serious and so solid in our world. But just because you're aware of something doesn't mean that that's you, or that you have to let that rule your life. You can go, oh, I'm aware of that. What else is possible here? What choice can I make that would actually be aligned with my love story? Because you're going to be aware of a lot of funkiness when you go online, when you go into public, when you engage with different things. So this is, okay, well, what can I make right now? What choice can I make right now? So in simple terms, this one is, okay, if I am noticing that what I'm choosing is not working, make a new choice. But I took this a little further for you guys because there is a sort of demon energy level here too, because so much of the time we're like, okay, wow, I'm sad, and we don't question it. We don't question it. We just go, okay, I'm sad, and then we're at the effect of that until something else distracts us. What if you can say, wow, I'm aware of sadness. I wonder what this is. What is this? And you're not going to your mind to figure it out. You're just asking, what is this? So many times I'll have like this emotional wave as the sensitive, empathic being that I am. And then I'm recognizing, wow, I am aware of so much that's in the world. And that's the power that we be as infinite beings. We're tapped into this matrix, and there is a lot of sadness. There is a lot of fear. There is a lot of frustration happening on the planet right now. So are you willing to be aware of that and not let all of that bigger piece, which is another sort of ogre vampire thing of the planet's distress and all of the things that are occurring on the planet, all of the polarities of I'm doing this is right, this is wrong, all of that that's there, can you remind yourself that you have your back and not get sucked into every single emotional thing that's going on? So that one is making a choice. If things are not working, or what you're choosing is creating funkiness, are you willing to choose something different? So that's number 4. Are you willing to commit to having your awareness and your choice? Number 4, commit to number 4. Comments. Okay, number 5, get a plan. This is a time where if you would like to create your love story this year, or in the next 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, what is your plan? And that's where I can help you, because that's something that, I noticed that there are plenty of people who are in these communities, in my communities, on my list forever and ever and ever, and aren't actually getting to the place where they're doing this next step of actually making a plan that is aligned with who they are. So, recap 2 and 3. Okay, so number 1, I'm going to go through them all. Number 1 is making love a priority. And it doesn't mean that you have to quit everything else, but it's making a choice. It's making the decision. It's making a demand of yourself to say, yes, I'm having this. I'm having this, and I'm going to do whatever. That's number 1. Number 2 is, what is number 2? Number 2 is your vision of love, is really actually acknowledging your greatest vision of love. And this is not with diminishing or removing stuff or keeping a wide net just in case. Like, this is actually honoring your vision of love, no matter how crazy or weird it may seem. Like, if you enjoy getting up every morning and having a mango lassi in a gorilla suit like me, and you would love someone who adores that about you, great. That's part of your vision. Like, let it be that. Like, you don't need to just go with, okay, my vision of love is someone nice. No. Then number 3 is being love. So being love is actually not keeping it out here that, oh, I want this, oh, I need to do this. Like, no, it's actually going, I am my love story. I'm living in that energy. I'm making choices from that energy. If this feels like a love story, I'm putting it on. If, I am inspired to take a new class, like following the energy of that. That's really using your deepest intelligence to create your life. And then number 4 is, or is that number 4? I think that was number 4. It was being, oh no, number 4 is noticing if what you're choosing is creating the same funk. Do you keep buying into the sad story about online dating or the sad story about your past? Are you, what are those things that you're regurgitating over and over and over again? They could be sad stories, they could be ways of thinking, they could be habits of scarcity, like, oh, there are no good ones left. Oh, I can't afford to do anything. Oh, no, no. Like, sort of this pathetic space. If you're choosing that, stop. What else can you choose? And then number 5 is get a plan. So this is where you have a conscious strategy to create your love story. It's 1, breaking the habits that are holding you back, because when habits are habits, that means that they're a real integral part of how you function. And it does take kind of some, stretching a bit to break a habit until you get to a new habit. So that takes time. That's just naturally takes time. That's why a lot of the stuff that I do is over time. So, go through and do the deep work, do the regenerating images and memory, use consciousness tools, target specific things that have tended to be a trigger for you, and then really actually change that so that you see something different in your life. And that's when, you begin to present yourself from a more clear you. If you've been buying into the trolls, the demons, the ogres, like all of this stuff, it actually makes it hard for your person to find you because you're buying into all of these lies and fears and limitations. And I noticed that when I cleared all this stuff out, had a conscious plan, was being loved, doing all these things, committing and making choices that were light for me, then I attracted a whole new caliber of person. And that's when it's actually really fun. And then you get to play into love. And this is the space. So the strategy, the plan gets you a smart way to play into love so that you can receive your love story. Okay. Wow. I hope that was helpful. That was a lot. We did a lot. So we're going to close with a couple rounds of our meditation. So just be here. The me within me is infinity. The me within me is the reality. The me within me is the grace. I am the master of my space. The me within me is infinity. The me within me is the reality. The me within me is the grace. I am the master of my space. Feel it. Really let this soak in. The me within me is infinity. The me within me is the reality. The me within me is the grace. I am the master of the space. And noticing how making those 5 commitments just now changes the space. The me within me is infinity. The me within me is the reality. The me within me is the grace. I am the master of the space. Yes. Awesome. Okay, so tomorrow we dive into our next level. We're starting to actually move into the space of even more of the magic of you, because we've really gotten aware of the trolls. Now they're going to be way more evident. It may be frustrating at first, and yet you have tools And now let's expand into more and more of the power of you so that you can have so much more fun in your dating life. And I love this. We're doing this at the end of the year where we're heading into the holiday season. And I love this time of year for celebration, for connection, for coziness. And if you would like that, let's do this. So join me tomorrow for class number 4 of 5. I can't wait to see you there. Will you please do me a huge favor and post whatever it is that you're taking from this class in the comments? I love seeing what is vibing with you and what has changed for you and how different you are as a result of knowing what you know now. So even answering the question, what I know now that I didn't know before, what I'm aware of now that I wasn't aware of before, post the answers in the comments. Okay? Let's see, because when you do that, then you get to actually move forward. All right. Thanks, everyone. See you soon.